I'd basically taught myself, and then I'd always been buying and selling things. My dad had a small coin shop, and I wanted to open a pawn shop. Rick Harrison just confirmed what no fan wanted to hear. Adam is gone, Chumlee is in jail, and everything he built is falling apart. The Pawn Stars empire, which was once a goldmine of success, is now drowning in trouble. How did it go from fame and fortune to this heartbreaking disaster? Tune in to find out the truth behind the upcoming closing of the famous pawn shop Fame. In a pawn shop, Pawn Stars wasn't just another show. It was built on hard work, determination, and Rick's sharp instincts. He learned the trade from his father, a strict businessman who knew how to turn junk into gold. When the shop first opened, it was all about the deals, the haggling, and the stories behind the items. But as soon as the cameras came in, fame began to weaken. Life changes people, and the Harrison family was no exception. Before we go any further, it's clear that the Pawn Stars came at a high cost, and what happened next will shock you. On the surface, business was booming, but behind the scenes, things were getting ugly. Lawsuits were being filed, money disputes were happening, and family members started fighting with each other. By the time the pandemic hit, the shop's profits had dropped from the millions of dollars they used to make to just barely making it. All the big pawn shops in town are now owned by huge chains like EasyCore, which has about 1,000 stores. And even though America has 1,000 stores like Walmart, Rick wasn't worried about money. What was going on in his own family was much worse. Rick's son was in a terrible legal battle. The details aren't clear, but what is clear is that he is facing serious consequences. Even though Rick tried to keep the news from getting out, it did, and it hit him like a sledgehammer. No one wants to see their son's future disappear. But for Rick, this was just one more worry on a long list. On TV, Chumlee is a likable goofball, but off-screen, he's a magnet for bad decision. When police raided his house, they found shocking illegal drugs, registered guns, and enough evidence to get him in a lot of trouble. He avoided serious jail time, but his reputation took a huge hit. Fans were shocked at how the funny, easygoing guy from TV got himself into such a mess, and it doesn't stop there. Rick's own mother turned against him. She sued him, saying he tricked her into giving up her share of the business while she was in a coma. The lawsuit called for a full financial investigation into over $500,000. It was tough, but we got through it. That room was exciting. Remember, we had to cut out half of it just to film it because there was a cameraman, a sound man, and a seller, Rick Chumlee. Even his own mother saw him as the enemy. As if that wasn't bad enough, Corey, the so-called responsible one, had his own problem. He was careless, angry, and always in trouble, and he managed to bring the family name into even more disrepute with a wrecked RV, unpaid debts, and bar fights. This wasn't the image of a clean-cut businessman that the show tried to sell. Pawn Stars was becoming less about rare finds and more about real-life scandals. Some of the so-called experts who appeared on the show were just as troublesome as the family itself. One was caught in a domestic violence case, and another was caught authenticating fake sports memorabilia, which caused a scandal that shook the whole industry. The show's credibility was falling, and fans could see that what was once a fun and educational show about unique treasures was turning into a reality TV disaster. Once upon a time, Pawn Stars had a spark. It felt real, unpredictable, and full of surprises. But as the seasons went on, Rick Harrison's magic started to fade. There were no longer any spontaneous moments. Everything felt too planned and polished. Negotiations were less about the thrill of the deal and more about back and forth that always ended the way you'd expect. In the family drama, well, that took center stage and pushed out what made the show fun in the first place. Rick wasn't just sitting back, though. He had big dreams, and one of them was Pawn Plaza, a whole shopping center built near the shop. He tried to expand his empire beyond the reality show, but like many other big business plans, this one failed. Local businesses blamed Rick for not promoting the area properly, which led to lawsuits. and whatever vision he had for the place turned out to be just another failed attempt to cash in on his fame. In the meantime, the show kept going, but even the biggest fans couldn't deny that Pawn Stars wasn't what it used to be. Rick knew the show was losing its appeal. He tried to keep his wealth together by investing in real estate and other businesses in the hopes that one would pay off. The shop had seen it all: huge wins, crushing losses, and everything in between. But now, even the deals were starting to feel off. Sellers kept coming in, each sure they had something priceless, only to be met with cold reality. More and more people came in hoping to make a lot of money, but not everything was worth as much as they thought. Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Talks. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into the incredible journey of voice AI and its impact on our daily lives. When it looked like the shop was out of Picasso pieces, another seller walked in with not one, but two prints. The first was an etching of a dove, and the second was called Poor Roby. These weren't just any prints, though. They were made by Picasso himself. Even if you don't know much about art, you've probably heard of Pablo Picasso. He's one of the most famous artists of all time. A famous artist recently had a painting sold for over $100 million. However, just because a piece is real doesn't mean it's rare, and in the art world, rarity is everything. An expert looked at both prints and confirmed they were real, which was good news, but it didn't mean they were valuable. The dove etching was a mass-produced lithograph, which meant there were many copies out there. On its best day, it might sell for $200, or even more if the right person comes along. There was a collector who offered a small amount, but Poor Roby was different. This print had potential. It was an early edition, printed on high-quality paper, which made it much more desirable. In the right setting, like an art auction or the hands of a serious collector, it could fetch anywhere from $800 to $1,500. The seller had a price in mind. He wanted $1,000 for both pieces, but Rick wasn't interested in the dove print. He saw where the real value was and made his move, offering $650 for Poor Roby alone. The seller hesitated. It's never easy to give up something you think is worth more, but he took the money anyway because he knew that finding a buyer willing to pay top dollar was never a sure thing. Sometimes it's better to take what you can get than to wait for a miracle that may never come. Do you think Rick Harrison is just going through a rough patch, or is something much darker tearing his world apart? Let us know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.